For years, a child would misbehave, disrupt an entire class, get sent to the office, and get suspended. For most kids, that punishment would be considered bad. To some, it was a vacation. They'd go home, gnaw on some junk food, play video games all day, or go out and get in trouble, thus not getting educated. This was not only a disservice to the child, but to the family, the school, and the community at large. So, the New Beginnings Room was invented, an amazing alternative education program that helps these kids stay in school, learn right from wrong, get educated, and assimilated back into class as a productive student and citizen in our community.
Suspensions and expulsions is not the answer in education anymore.
I am the principal of Allen Elementary School, and my first year we had quite a few behavior issues. And so the goal was to give the power of instruction back to the teachers in the classroom. As I sat down with each returning teacher, that was the number one thing that they wanted, was the ability to relive that passion and to love what they were doing. So coming into the first year, we did a lot of babysitting. That meant that we had quite a few referrals, over 500 referrals. Over the course of my first year, they would come down to the office and we would deal with those students. The teachers would have that freedom to teach in the classroom, but something big was missing. And what was missing was the fact that when they returned to the classroom, those behaviors were still there. So we removed the situation, but we didn't replace or redefine the behavior when they were going back into the classroom.
The state of Indiana did not have any alternative program for elementary students. Why wait until a child is in middle school or high school to start correcting behavior? We had a lot of behavior issues the last few years, and last year we had 202 suspensions. So we were needing something to solve this problem that we were having. So we created New Beginnings, and we are the first in the state of Indiana to have an alternative program for elementary students.
So here's how it works. If a student has a disruptive behavior in a classroom that would warrant being suspended from school, they are instead placed into the New Beginnings program. There's an intake process that removes the child from the gen ed setting, because we can't allow one student to disrupt the learning of all the other students in the classroom. And then they're placed in a different setting, the New Beginnings setting. It's an isolated setting to begin with, where students have a very structured time frame. They do everything in that classroom, but they're supported by a team of adults, both socially, emotionally, and academically. We work really hard to replace inappropriate behaviors with appropriate behaviors. That's accomplished through role playing with students. That's accomplished with support in social areas. And so students then are, once they graduate from New Beginnings, they get to go back into their classroom with the support of an adult so they can transition back smoothly and make sure that that's a successful transition.
At level 1, the behaviors that we're looking for them to earn marks and points to get to level 2, we look for them to sit in their seat correctly. They must raise their hand. They must continue doing their academic work. They must answer yes ma'am or no ma'am. They must stay in their area. We look for all those kinds of things where they're compliant. We always tell them that they earn points for what we expect them to do. At level 2, students have the privilege of using an iPad. They may work in a small group. We try to add some privileges at level 2. At level 3, we do something a little bit different because we want to try to get them ready to go back into their classroom. So students are allowed to eat lunch with their classmates as long as one of us, either one of my aides or myself, will go with them. They also go back to our more unstructured area, and they may sit in a beanbag, read a book. So at level 3, they also do a community project where they might wash the windows in the foyer, they might sweep the floor, they might help clean up after lunch, but they have to do something to give back.
I'm a teacher's assistant for the New Beginnings classroom. I help with any of their schoolwork. We help with their character building. And
one of the main job descriptions that we have as the aides to this program are helping with the follow-through after the kids leave our classroom. We spend a lot of time going from class to class, observing the children that have been in our program, as well as observing them while they interact with their peers. We helped them to identify triggers of what could be causing them to have the bad choices or make bad choices and have inappropriate behaviors.
And that usually was during his reading time. This student did not know how to read. He didn't have the skills to read. His classmates were moving ahead. He was still staying behind. And that's when we started to see behaviors.
He struggled very much with writing and just that motivation to pick up his pencil and write words down.
Said, you know, I got really frustrated because I wasn't understanding a math problem, and I put my hands over my face, and he said, I was getting ready to get frustrated, and I walked out of the classroom, and I need to talk to you about what I can do because I can't walk out next week. I know I can't do that during the test. So we spent some time going over skills that we've talked about, that's been talked about in here, and came up kind of with a plan to try to help him manage and get through I-STEP.
I didn't like writing, so I'd use an excuse to get myself in trouble to come down here so I wouldn't have to write. But when it came to find out, I had to stay down here as a bad consequence. The teachers in the beginning room inspired me to write this play, and so I started writing this play called The Boy Who Said No, and it was just a good experience to learn that not all writing is something bad.
This year he got started in this program, but it has really turned him around tremendously. He likes the program, and he likes the fact that he has come so far in it that now he is like a mentor, and he loves that. It makes him feel like he's helping others like they've helped him. He loves you, and it's all because of you.
Our biggest goals is to get parents involved, to help them feel a part of the school, feel connected to it, and for them to feel like we're supporting them. Because so much of the time you feel like you're alone when you're parenting, and it can feel overwhelming. It can feel, especially if you have kids that aren't doing everything you'd like them to do, you can feel like you're just barely treading water. And so the whole idea is for us to support our families.
We also have a relationship with the teachers where we have built up that trust that they know that they can call us and we can come in and try to intervene with the child so that it prevents them from having repeat offenses that would bring them back into our program.
What I've noticed when the students come back into the classroom after being New Beginnings is a positive turnaround. I've noticed that students have a lot more self-confidence.
I've had 2 or 3 students go through the New Beginnings this year, and I've been very pleased with how they have changed in a positive way.
My job relates to New Beginnings because some of our students benefit from this program. So students with special education needs or special needs would benefit from a program like this. It just gives us another option. So it's just another option of support for those students. We come together as a team and we talk about a case conference committee, and we talk about what would be the best setting for this student. Is it something that we can fix in the classroom? Is it something that we need to pull out and come into a setting like this with behavior to fix, or is it something that we need to do a more long-term placement, like in a room like mine?
One of the things that I really like about New Beginnings is that they don't get to go home. The suspension is in school, which separates them from their friends, which for a lot of kids that's the biggest drawback. That you want to be with friends, you want to eat lunch, you want to have recess with them, talk to them and be around them. And when they're in here, that doesn't happen. They're separated from them. They're in the, one-on-one in the cubicle working with the teachers. So the positive is, once they've done that, they don't want to come back. They want to be back in the classroom, so they have more privileges and freedom. They can eat lunch with their friends. They can have recess. They can do all of those things. So that's made a big difference because they are learning this year that getting into trouble is not going to get them home and not going to get them what they thought that they would get. And so usually 1 or 2 times in here is all that it takes to turn things around, get them back into the classroom, and get them back right on track.
Through that grant, school improvement grant, we were able to say we need a program that will address behaviors for students and support them so we can change the behavior and get them back into the classroom. So through that, we were able to fund the New Beginnings program with a behavior interventionist, with paraprofessionals that not only support kids when they're not in the classroom in our New Beginnings program, but follow them back into that classroom environment so we can make sure that they're successful where they really need to be successful at. It was also important for us to fix these behaviors when they were young, because as they get older, it's much more difficult to change a behavior. So through the process, we're working with children, we're replacing inappropriate behaviors with appropriate behaviors and making a huge impact not only for their school lives, but for their home lives as well, and really feel like we're producing lifelong learners and great students.
The New Beginnings program is a pilot program that has started here at Allen Elementary and Marion Community Schools. It is an undeniable program with great success, great tracking data. The state actually contacted us and said this is a program that is going to be shared with every single elementary school in the state of Indiana. We have actually conducted web conferences with schools as far out as California. They have been reaching out to us wanting to hear about the successes of our New Beginning program. So this is something that it is gaining a lot of attention from a district level, from a state level, but also expanding to a national level as well. So we definitely take a lot of pride representing Marion Community Schools, representing Allen Elementary, and other elementaries with this pilot program. These are our kids, and we want our kids to succeed. And what we always want to make clear with other schools that we're sharing the New Beginnings program with is the demographics and dynamics of the kids that we are working with on a daily basis. Last year we had over 202 suspensions. This year we are currently standing at 16 suspensions. We are looking at 94% of our students free and reduced lunch. Marion, Indiana, Grant County has the highest poverty rate in the state of Indiana. So that in itself is the need. And with our students, there is nothing that we are not going to try or do for our students and for our community. If our students need food, we feed our students on the weekend. If our students need work on redefining the behaviors and the choices that they make, that is where New Beginnings comes into play, because we don't send students home. Students are here to learn every single day. That is the second thing that they say every single morning in our Mustang mission. I am proud to be an Allen Mustang. I know that I am here to learn. So if we are all about learning, then we have to teach our students how to learn. And if our students need behaviors reshaped, that is what New Beginnings is here for, to reshape those behaviors, send them back out into the classrooms with support so that they can have the best success as possible within their classroom.